guys, it's Best in Show Books. I'm Shelby.
I'm Jeanna.
Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. Do you notice something different? It's an experiment. We're not techie people, but we are trying something new, so bear with us on the audio for this one. But today's video is all about your summer reading list. Jeanna and I have gone through and picked out 6 books that we feel like have the perfect summer vibes across a wide variety of genres.
Yes. Yeah.
So
kind of a little everywhere.
Yeah. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss our fun videos like this, please be sure to subscribe and like and leave us a comment whenever telling us what you think about these recs or if there are some that we should have included because obviously we can only include 6. So,
and if you've read some of the ones that we talk about, let us know what your thoughts are on those books, or if you like those authors, tell us what other books by those authors you like. We like hearing from you.
So Jeanna's going to start us off. What is our first summer reading recommendation, Jeanna?
We are really going to go summary. This one is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies. So if you'll remember, we did our summer TBR. I have the sequel to this one on my list. So I love this book. It is so charming. The cover, look at the cover. It's got lemons on it. It's so cute. And it makes you want to go on vacation.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready. So this one, Eleanor Dash is an author. And she's a well-known author. And she and her team go to Italy to promote her book on this book tour. They have like this bus of fans that have come along, which makes it even more entertaining. Her sister is like her assistant and manager and takes care of everything. Eleanor doesn't know anything without her sister. She doesn't know where her phone is. She doesn't know what time to get up. She doesn't even pack herself. Her sister tells her to do it and be everywhere. And then there's the guy that she wrote as the main hunk, cute hero of her books that was an ex. And he was kind of a snarky loser of a guy, I think, when they became exes, but he figures out a way to keep his finger in the pot of the money because he knows that he is the character she has written. Sorry. New setup, right?
We're working
on it. So she feels like she's stuck with this guy. She feels like he is always around and he's always getting a bit of her money that comes from everything. She's tired of him. So she wants to write him off and like kill him off of her series. So as they're on vacation and they're on this book tour, he shows up, the sister's there, all these...
He brings somebody, doesn't he?
He brings like a
woman
or something.
Girlfriend.
Yeah, I mean, it just... The cast of characters are hilarious. You find yourself laughing, but then, of course, somebody dies.
Bum, 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 bum.
And they think they're after him. They think they're after her. They don't know what's going on. And it's just... It's a fun ride. It's a fun summer because of the scenery with Italy and the beach and all of the beautiful wardrobe they talk about, the hats and the purses and the colors.
Very like Italian summer.
Yes, very Italian summer. And then you've got this crazy who's trying to kill who and why.
And I remember, like looking at the cover, I thought, and there's a little person there and she's like reading the book.
Yeah.
I kind of thought it would be like straightforward, but I remember getting to the end and being like, oh, it was that person?
Yeah.
Like, I did not see that coming at all, which was fun. Like, it did have some meat to it. And
so, cozy mystery-ish.
Yeah.
But yet, because of all the lightheartedness with her being a little ditzy and needy.
And that there's banter. And
yes. And there's some snarky comments between the sisters, and you kind of feel for the sister like she's being taken advantage of. But yet, she takes really good care of Eleanor. So, but it's a charming read, and on top of all that, you get a really good mystery.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend this one. And next up for me on my TBR is the sequel, because I did finish one of my TBR list books.
We are trucking along on our personal TBRs.
We are. So if we're leaving the beach in Italy, where are we going next?
You think we're leaving the beach in Italy. We're staying in Italy.
Oh, good deal.
The next book on our summer reading list, also set in Italy, is The Amalfi Curse by Sarah Penner. And let's just take a moment to just appreciate. I don't know if you're going to be able to see like the gold foil.
Oh, yeah.
And then the inside pages have like this shipwreck.
It's neat.
Yeah, so nice. And fun fact that nobody asked for, but you're going to get, and I don't even know if I told you, my son graduated kindergarten a couple weeks ago. And when everybody went across the stage and they said, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, you know, there was policeman and firefighter. There was somebody said a dad. A little boy said a dad. Actually, I think he said a Manny. So, but anyways,
That's great.
My son said he wanted to be an underwater archaeologist because one of his favorite shows is a documentary about underwater wrecks. So anyways, that's a lot of what this is about. So the main character is Haven Ambrose, and she is they call it a nautical archaeologist.
Ooh.
And she travels to Positano, and she is there to investigate some wrecks. It's a particularly good place, if I recall, to investigate these wrecks because the waters are like kind of shallowish or something like that. And so she goes there, and she's supposed to be leading this expedition. But then when she gets there, things start to happen, and she is like called off the job. And they say like, you can't be doing this. You know, we've had some changes in the expedition, and we're really sorry. And so you find out that she is also there to investigate her father's like final find. Her father was also an underwater archaeologist, and he believed that there was a shipwreck that had a bunch of treasure just off the coast of Positano, but because of its geographical location and things like that, nobody had ever discovered it. And it's sounding a little bit like this book is really technical in underwater currents and things like that, but it's really not. And so the main story is Haven is trying to solve her dad's like final mystery. He's passed away, and she's also trying to figure out like why she was kicked off the expedition. You know, what are they going to do now? And what does this mean for her? Because she is obviously not from Italy. She's come all this way. And so woven in with that story, you also have one of my favorite things. You have a dual timeline.
Oh, cool.
And it takes place in the past in Positano. And in this storyline, you have the main character is also a woman, and they call it Stregoria. Again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it is basically like witchcraft, but not witchcraft. And so they're like sea witches is kind of what they call them. And so they use the power of the water and things like that. And I really did enjoy this book. I felt like it was a great summer read. And Sarah Penner wrote The Lost Apothecary. Have you read that?
I have.
Yeah.
It's good. I like Sarah Penner.
Mm-hmm. So I was really looking forward to this, and I felt like she did a good job tying in the past timeline to the present timeline, mm-hmm. and it all, not only did it flow well, but like it made sense.
Yeah.
You know, the things you find out in the past tie into the present day, and so I was kind of solving the mystery along as I read, and it was a really enjoyable summer read, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to pack my bags after your book.
Let's just
and
go
mine.
to Italy.
Let's go to Italy. Next episode.
I'm ready for some pasta and some limoncello.
By the beach?
By the beach, yeah.
But I do believe this is the final Italian book on our summer reading list.
I think so.
So now we are leaving the sun-soaked shores of Positano, and we are going to the cloudy, rain-soaked
countryside of England.
But also not a bad place to be.
It's not a bad place, especially when you are with the Knightleys. The whole crew from Jane Austen's books in The Murder of Mr. Wickham by Claudia Gray. And it is a fan fiction. Mm-hmm. And she has taken all of the great loved characters of all the Austen books, the Knightleys, and all from Emma from Pride and Prejudice, from my brain went totally blank.
The other Jane Austen
all the
books.
Jane Austen books, which I have read. I really have. And even in Austen writing style, she has created the story of the murder of Mr. Wickham. So come on, Mr. Wickham. Let's face it. He's like the most dastardly of the characters in the Austen books. He's the least likable guy. He's the one that if he gets whacked, nobody's going to really care, right?
They were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So all of these characters have grown up, they're married, and they have children. And so they've gathered at this house party at the Knightley household. And I love that you get what life is like after the fairy tale ending, mm-hmm. and you see what they're like as married couples with like 7 kids. And so a couple of the kids are now old enough that they're teenagers, and they become friends when Mr. Wickham shows up at the house party uninvited, and let's face it, nobody cares that he's there. They wish he would go away, and they all have a reason for not wanting him there other than the obvious one from when he was a jerk. Mm-hmm. In his original storyline, he has now touched all of their lives in some way and as a total dirtball. Yeah. So he ends up dead in this house party. There's a storm. I believe there's a storm. And so it's kind of like a closed room mystery. Like nobody came in or out except for the house guests that are trapped with him. So who killed Mr. Wickham? Well, and I'm going to make sure. Juliet Tilney is a character that is a young girl. And
Oh, is
yes.
Charlotte Tilney?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So she is part of that. It's she's part of that group. And I'm trying to remember the son. Which son? If he's a Knightley, I think it's a Knightley kid. I think. Sorry, it's been a minute since I read this one because there's a couple of these books now in the series, and so this is the first one. So they start trying to solve the mystery together as friends, but you can kind of see that there's a budding romance.
Oh.
So I'm actually want to read the other books in this series. I just haven't yet, but I highly recommend this one, especially if you are a Janeite, which is a new thing that I didn't know. So if you're a Jane Austen fan, I guess you're a Janeite. So I'm a Janeite. And
there's Janeite. We thought it was Austenite. I was talking to our manager the other day, and she was like, it's actually Janeite. And Janeites have been around since the 1800s.
Yes.
Which is like, insane.
Yeah. So if you read Austen at Sea, and you've read all the other Jane
Austen
that we
books,
mentioned, then you definitely need to read The Murder of Mr. Wickham and the other books. So I'm hoping to get to the other books. So, all right. So we've been in Italy. We've been in England. Where are we going next?
My next summer reading recommendation is The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, surprising no one, because we just did our Riley Sager video, and I talked about how good this was, but if you haven't seen that, then go watch it, and then come back, or finish watching this, and then go see it. So, to give you a brief snippet about it, this was his second book. He's written a ton of other thrillers since then, but it is particularly summery. It takes place at a summer camp, Camp Nightingale, and the main character is Emma. Yes, Emma. And she's kind of a younger girl, maybe like 12 or something, 13. Okay. The book probably tells you, but I don't remember. And she is in a cabin with 3 older girls, or 3 other girls, and in the middle of the night, one night, they get up, the 3 older girls get up, and Emma gets up, and the last thing she remembers is seeing one of the girls walking out of the door with her finger across her lips. Very mysterious. So then the girls never come back. And Emma is the only person left in the cabin. And if you can imagine, even being a 12 or 13-year-old at that time, thrown in the midst of that. Yeah. So the camp shut down, and it was a huge controversy. Obviously, the girls, like I said, were never found. So fast forward, now Emma is an adult, and she is an artist. And she is very much still like scarred by this, and she thinks about it all the time. So she is contacted by someone from Camp Nightingale and is asked to come back. They say, we're going to reopen the camp, and we would like you to be the art teacher. So Emma agrees. I don't know.
Sure why.
I don't know. I feel like I would have been like, thank you. No. But she was needing some closure, so she goes, and unsurprisingly, mysterious things start happening, and that past disappearance ties into very strange things now happening at the camp. It was tense, it was twisty, it was taut. When I put it down, I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next? You know, I just could not stop thinking about this one, and it was so summery. I think it took place in the Adirondacks.
Oh,
that sounds right. In the Adirondacks. And it was just very atmospheric and spooky, and an easy summer reading recommendation for me to give to you. So,
and what's more summery than camp, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Got to go to camp at summer.
That's even the store's summer reading theme. Not haunted camp. Fun camp.
Yes. And
cute camp.
Cute camp for kids with a reading list that's not scary.
Right, yeah. But adults, you could check this out and you would like it.
And of course, Riley Sager is always good.
Yes, yeah. Highly recommend all his books.
Yes.
What's your next pick?
All right.
Are we going to camp?
We're not going to camp, but we're going back in time, and we're going to the future, and we're going to have dual timelines, all the things.
So many things I like.
I know. The Unmaking of June Farrow. And this is by Adrienne Young. Okay. This book, it topped the list that year for me when I first read it. Was this last year that we read it?
Yeah, last year, I think. Yeah, most of our staff read it last year.
Yeah, so our fantasy book club leader picked this. And she's like, oh, it's so good, you got to read it. And then we all read it, and we've been recommending it to everybody that will listen to us because it is amazing. So June Farrow, obviously the title, she lives in this small mountain town of Jasper, North Carolina. It starts in the present day, and her grandmother passes away. And they have this beautiful flower farm, which you're thinking in the mountains,
Yeah,
and
that's
all of this
right.
beautiful flower farm. So like lavender and all the wildflowers, which was so visual. I could
It
just
was
see it.
so visual.
It was
yeah.
so good. And I could picture this. She has a best friend who is a guy that she's known since childhood. And you kind of think that there's probably more.
Will they, won't they?
Yeah, because, they're, the girlfriend, boyfriend, bestie thing. You really think that's going to happen. But she starts seeing things. She starts seeing the doors, and she's like, there's just a door appearing. And she doesn't know what to do with it. She thinks she's kind of going crazy. And there's kind of this curse on the family women. There's really like never a dad in any of the females in her family, like her mom, her grandmother. None of them had a husband along, because you kind of learn that the women in this family have some kind of mental illness.
Go mad.
Yeah, they go mad. And so she thinks she's going mad because she keeps seeing these doors. But there's a neighbor lady who was best friends with the grandmother. And so she starts asking her questions. Then a letter comes about from, I think it was from her grandmother or her mom.
So her grandmother has died.
Yes.
And then she gets a letter from her grandmother.
Yes.
And it was like,
yeah. So she actually goes through a door. She finally goes through one of the doors.
She sees it and she goes through it.
I know, which to me is, I'm not sure if it's brave or crazy. But
I know, yeah.
But she goes through it, and it takes her to the past. But it's her past of her family. It's not just like, I'm traveling to
Some
World
random
War II
time.
in the middle of a war field. This is the same location. She recognizes the house. She recognizes her grandmother.
Don't give anything else away.
No,
it's so good.
There's such a love story, a mystery that she has to solve in order to figure what things are happening. There's loyalty. There's family dynamics of this family, why are they this way? How does it carry on? Is it a good thing, a bad thing? There's just, oh my gosh, I can't even. It's one of those, it was beautiful. And when it was over, I was sad. I loved the ending. The ending was beautiful, but I was sad because I did not want to leave this book. It's just, as you like to say, the chef kiss. This one was, oh my gosh, it was so good and so well written, beautifully written. It's a literary fantasy,
very like lyrical, but not bogged down.
No, but it's visual. You can see everything, and it's what'd you call it? Magical realism.
Yeah, magical realism.
Because it's set in the present and past that is real in these mountains of South Carolina, and I just want to go live there.
And so when this was actually our fantasy book club's first pick.
That's right.
So she picked this one, and then we kind of all loved it. Everybody was like, it was so good. Yes. And I think it was a really smart choice to pick it because she kind of eased us into it. If you're not a huge fantasy person, which like fairies and, dragons and stuff like that, which I am not. So I was even skeptical to read this, but like the way it was done, I really enjoy magical realism now. And I know that thanks to her, but this was so good. And I finished it. I remember it's very visual. On my porch swing at home. And I remember, isn't that a good spot? I finished it and I was like,
just
like it
watch
was so
the lightning
good.
bugs as you read this, like you can just picture the mountain and you can picture the fields of lavender and just the breeze. I don't know. There was something about this. You felt like it was atmospheric.
So summery atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you liked Outlander with that dual timeline and love story, as far as going in and out, maybe, very different as far as the story goes, but if you liked that concept of her being able to go back and forth in timelines or having relationships and secrets and mysteries in the dual timelines, you will really like this. So please read it if you haven't.
And then let us know.
And let us know if you are just magically whisked off to the mountains of South Carolina with us. So, okay, so we're leaving this dreamy state, and where are we going next?
Coincidentally, to another summer camp. My previous one was Riley Sager, Last Time I Lied, and now we have The God of the Woods, which takes place in a summer camp in the Adirondacks. Also a very like lush kind of fancy summer camp. Did you read this one?
I'm halfway through it.
Okay. Well, half credit. Half credit for Jeanna.
And it's good. So
and I read, Liz Moore had another book before this, and it was called Long Bright River. Oh. It is not summery at all, and it is, in fact, Long Bright River refers don't quote me, but to like heroin and drug usage. And it's
Oh.
about two police officers,
Oh.
maybe in like Philadelphia. And I loved that book.
Oh,
It
okay.
was so good and so well written and
Okay.
well like drawn out. You know,
Mhm.
I could see it. These were real people and these were real problems that they were having, and it had a mystery to it. And so I loved that. And then I felt like for several years I didn't really hear anything about Liz Moore. And then she came out with this. And I was so excited, and I read it and I loved it. Surprise. So it takes place in the summer camp, like I said. And in early morning, August 1975, a girl, Barbara Van Laar, goes missing. The story is about where has Barbara gone and who is involved, what do they know, but also 14 years before that, Barbara's brother, Bear Van Laar, also went missing. So it's another dual timeline.
See a
Ding, ding,
pattern.
ding. Yeah.
I see a pattern with us.
It's a dual timeline story of the two disappearances, and the summer camp and the home. It's like the camp, and then there's the big house, which to me felt very like Kennedy compound.
Yes.
Like they're so wealthy.
Yes.
And Barbara seems like the more you find out about her, like she didn't really fit in there. And there are secrets about her brother's disappearance in the past. And it was tough to read at times.
Yeah.
It's not light. It's a real thinker. It's emotional. It discusses family ties, family bonds, loneliness, love, the things that you'll do for love.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It's definitely not a light, zesty every time I go on vacation.
No.
But it's got a summery setting, and the ending, which you're not there yet,
No.
I really
That's okay,
liked. I finished it and I was like, wow, perfect. I highly recommend it. It's a great family saga.
Yes.
Very compelling and very gripping. It definitely, not like a trigger warning, but it's got some sad parts to it, and some characters that you just feel really bad for, and they go through some devastating things, especially, you know, you have Bear's disappearance, and that really ties in very heavily. And so the people in Bear's timeline, the 14 years ago disappearance, they are not the same people that they are now, that when Barbara has gone missing. So seeing the way people change over time in the wake of a tragedy, it was really compelling.
I think what happened to Nina when she talked about in a week, she saw the time how that tragedy affected everybody. You're not the same as you were. I feel like that's the same, even though it's a longer span of time that we find out how they react and how they change. That Bear's disappearance changes them. So by the time Barbara disappears, you've got that family, and you see the decline, and you see the change, and it's a really good story. And I know I'm only halfway through it, but the summer camp is what makes it campy for us.
Yeah, and summery, and they, you know, they interview, and the police come and interview people who work at the camp. They're interviewing all the different family members, and you kind of have that rich people, middle class, like dynamic of the people who work at the camp, and what do they really know?
Yes.
And then you have these uber wealthy people. Well, what do they know, and what are they lying about? What are they willing to discuss? It was just, I loved it.
And there's a survival aspect to the camp. It's not just like you're going to camp to do nothing. Like they're teaching them survival skills.
Right.
So there is this point in the camp that they have to go and survive a night in the woods by themselves.
Yeah.
And like the counselors are around, but they're not with them.
But it's like a wilderness.
Yeah, it's a wilderness camp. So it's a different concept of camp too. So
So I said, you know, the Kennedy compound. So the camp, to piggyback off that, is not like that, but it's like got a big house that kind of overlooks it. So a lot of the story takes place up there, interviewing the family. Yes. And then it's just totally different down at the camp, and what the kids are going through, and what the counselors hear, and very good.
It's a deep story. It's a deep book. So it is really good, and I'm looking forward to finishing it.
Yeah, maybe you'll put on your summer TBR.
It's in the pile. I know that pile is really large over next to my table.
Yeah,
we have done 6 books between us, and that is our summer recommendations. We hope that you enjoyed listening to our little chats and book recommendations and our reviews. And these were very different, kind of a wide
Yeah.
range of mystery, fantasy, cozy, fan fiction, all over the place. Let us know what you think of those, whether you have read them, read anything else by the authors, or something similar, or what are you reading this summer?
Yeah. What should we have included
Yeah.
on our list? Because it's highly possible that we might put that on our personal TBR. Because I don't know about you guys, and I know you did too. I finished a book on my TBR yesterday, and I was like so accomplished.
I did. It felt good to check that off. And it was
now I got to add like 10 more.
Well, that's true. That's true. Amalfi Curse, and is already on there. So maybe it'll move up a little bit since it's still summer.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll move up to vacation read.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, guys, we appreciate you so much for coming and hanging out with Best in Show Books today, and we hope that you enjoyed it. I'm Jeanna.
And I'm Shelby.
And
We'll see you next time.